joining me today. I love this layout. I absolutely love it. I'm using 49th and Market Spectrum Sherbet paper collection, and I used painted foundations for this particular one. I'll have everything in the description below so you know which papers are what. Now, what I decided to do was enhance the splatter that is already on this page. So I've used, you can see it on the right there, it's a Creative Memories Bubbles Punch. It was one they had out years and years ago. They probably don't even make it anymore. But it gives you a variety of different circle sizes. So what I did was just used an offcut. Probably should have used a wider piece. But anyway, I wanted to create the bubble effect going down the page. So I've already cut, you can see that this page is a little bit shorter. So I go through with the, I use modeling paste. I used to use texture paste, but the modeling paste is smoother. It feels, I don't know, it goes on a lot better. It's just the Mont brand for my Aussie peeps that are like joining me and whatnot. It was only, I think I showed it at the beginning of the video. It's like butter. It's that smooth. So it gives you texture, but not rough texture, which is nice. So that will be my texture paste for quite some time. Texture paste of choice. Okay, so what I'm scrapping today is just a photo that, you know when you take those photos that it's just a one-off and it just looks super cute and it has all the mummy feels and it's great. That's what I did. So here very quickly I show you what I do with this punch. It is very difficult to punch this punch. You can see the amount of pressure I'm putting on this punch. It is difficult, and that's why I don't use it very often. And yeah, so the page turns out amazing, but it is very laborsome. Is that the word? Very laborsome, very laborious. That's the word. Okay, it's literally 8:38 in the morning. So to pull that word out was, So I don't leave all of this footage in, but for my subscribers that love watching the process, I have sped this up 4 times. This is quite literally one of those processes that you can put a video on, catch up on some shows, and literally just the hardest part of this was I was foolish. When I punched out the colours, I mixed them up. So the hardest part the hardest part for me was separating all the bubbles back out because they're all varying sizes. So separating them back into their colour rows, that was annoying. So what I'm actually doing, as you can see, so I'm following the pink from top to bottom and I'm creating a bubble effect. So not only do I have the white texture paste giving you the texture, but I've now got, it makes these bubbles look, they're not going on top of where the texture paste is, okay? These are going in between. So you've got 2 different textures. It feels, for anyone that loves texture as much as what I do, this feels, my kids were in here this morning and they just kept running their fingers down this page. That's how good it is. Like, that's how good the texture is. So hop on over to my Facebook or my Instagram to see close-up pictures of it so you can really, I do zoom in at the end, but it's, just to see, it's so good. It is really, really good. So I go through and I'm trying to keep the large bubbles at the top and then the smaller bubbles at the bottom. You know, like when you pour a glass of lemonade, and to not use a brand term, and you know, the bubbles go to the top. That's what I was trying to do. That's what this paper, even though it's brush strokes, that's what this paper made me think of. I could make bubbles going up. So believe it or not, I'm nearly done with, and I'll jump over and skip through to the last bit. So what else did I want to tell you? So I am going to do a couple of flip through videos because I've actually counted and I have got 49 pages just sitting there ready to go into albums. I feel like it was only yesterday that I added all my pages, like a heap of scrapbook pages to my albums. But and look, yes, I will be honest, I'm a stay-at-home mum, and this is when I spoke to my husband and my children about taking on this creative process and becoming a creative content creator, I did say to my family, I'm going to give this my all. I'm going to dedicate almost like a full-time job. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to, obviously I have to work out my processes and how everything goes, but I pretty much do a page a day, depending. Like this page it's quite busy. And if you're wondering what, I do have to say, if you're wondering how I'm picking these up, what I do is I'm using my tweezers, and because these dots are so small, I just put a tiny dot of glue. So I just touch the glue and it makes the tip of my really pointy tweezers a little bit tacky. So I'm able to pick the dots up really easy and transfer them. Very occasionally you see me having to use my finger to help the system out, sort of thing. But yeah, that's how I transfer little fiddly things like this. Okay, so you can see by the page being turned over how I've cut the page. So I haven't bought this whole collection. I've only bought a couple of pages for the same reason as normal. I don't want to scrapbook all the same thing, if that makes sense. I like to do different things. So what I've done is, now don't mind the fact that the very bottom is blank, because see, this is where I add this bit on the bottom. So I've cut this off the top part and I'm bringing the color to the bottom. So you've got the bubbles in between, and I just roughed up the edges a little bit just because, you know, more texture, why not? But I wanted it to look like this strip was, I didn't want to raise it up, but so you could tell that it wasn't just on the paper. You could tell that it was added down below. So now I've added it on there. You can't see that I've just Frankenstein the bottom of the page with just a leftover bit. Now it just looks like it should all flow properly. Now this is a trick that I wanted to play with to see how it would travel. Here's a creative tip for you that I haven't seen anyone else do. So this is my tracing paper. This is my Mont $5 paper pad of tracing paper. These are the 49th and Market Art Options rub-ons, and I have the Avesta set. Now what I wanted to do, because it's so busy already with the bubbles, I didn't want to go overkill on it. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the rub-ons and I'm rubbing them onto the tracing paper, which allows them to still be transparent like the rub-on, but it gives it flexibility. So when I cut these out and when I glued them on, so it allows it's kind of opaque, but not completely. And the butterflies, wow, game changer. If I find butterfly, because I love butterflies, I love dragonflies. If I find them anywhere in rub-ons, I will now buy them, because now I've figured this out. They look completely different, and it allows you to use the rub-on. You know, sometimes you see a rub-on and it looks prettier than a fussy cut piece. It just looks really pretty because it's transparent. Game changer. Seriously. The tracing paper is stiff enough that it gives it the ability to bend the wings up and they stay up. But it's not that stiff that it's card, if that makes sense. If you blow on the this is how I'll explain it. If you blow on the page, the wings on the butterfly flap. So I love it. I absolutely adore it. It looks so good. I am a fan of using, in this situation, so if you can see here, so this is where I realized I want the butterflies transparent, but this particular, so I used a sentiment out of the rub-ons, and it wasn't, you couldn't read the words. It was there was too much gap or something. It needed to go on the white. See how you can read the word smile at the bottom? You couldn't do that with this green piece. It was a tiny little bit too light in colour. So I did end up adding this one to, see, now you can read it. So I added it to some white cardstock. Now, the smile I didn't. I just put that on top of the other piece of tracing paper because it was slightly darker. It's a brown hue. So it was, yeah. So you can read that. Now, this is where I was tossing up, doing some more layers, and then I went, no. If I do more layers, I'm going to have a problem because it's just going to take away from the bubbles. So I added this one on, just had to hold it down a little bit because it's going over modelling paste. We all know how that works, right? So see how the butterflies just bend up? So I just use my tweezers in the center of the butterfly, and now that's a rub-on. So that's a rub-on, but it's a rub-on with texture. It literally, it's off the page. I love it. Absolutely love it. Let me know if you try it because it is awesome. Now, this particular set, it's the Cocoa Vanilla Bohemian Dream Chipboard titles. I bought these so long ago and I thought I would love them, I would adore them, and they would be all of that, but they're not cut out properly. The set I got, it's not cut out properly. You can see the struggles here that I'm having trying to get the centerpieces out of the word. I wasn't a fan, but I did use it for this particular layout because the 49th and Market Spectrum Sherbet paper is quite matte. It looks really matte. So I wanted the title to look the same. So, simple title, remember. And this one is for Gwen. She owns Cut to You Cut File Shop. I made a comment the other day because I don't do crazy splatters very often. And she's like, you can do it. I know you can do it. So this one's for you, Gwen. I'm using some splatters. I thought, okay, this is where I didn't clean my brush the other day. And I thought, oh, it's going to be blue. So this is as adventurous as I like to get with my splatters. I have tried doing it a different way, but I'm just using some cheap white acrylic paint, and I'm just adding, sorry if you can hear my dogs walking in. They've decided to join me. Oh, bless you. Bless you. Hi, Dory. Yeah, so that's my splatters. So here's the close-ups. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked, I would appreciate a thumbs up, even a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see. I'm now going to do a few videos on doing a flip through, and this is my page. So if you would like to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future creative content, I would really appreciate it. This is, I just love, doesn't it just look, oh, I just love all the texture. You can see the texture there, but wow, I love it. That was so good. Thank you so much for joining me. And now I'm just showing you, see how the wings are flexible? That's a rub-on. Isn't that awesome? So, like and subscribe. That would really help my channel out. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you again soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.